is the Bittersweet and Twisted Records podcast with Vince and Bobbie. I'm Vince.
I'm Bobbie.
And welcome to our most recent episode, because I forgot what number we're on. I think this is number six.
I think. Ooh, perfect
Six,
number.
If we stuck to our original plan of this being the Halloween special, we could have said this was episode 666.
Ooh.
But, things got in the way and delayed recording, but here we are. We're going to make a more of an effort to get on a regular schedule, because we know that these episodes seem to drop rather indiscriminately. So we're going to try to keep up with a schedule of the 1st and 15th of every month.
Yes.
I don't know how successful we're going to be with that, but we're going to try. So this episode will probably be up on November 1st. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was originally going to be our Halloween special, but things got in the way.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure November 1st is the Day of the Dead.
Well, you should look that up.
I'm going to look right now.
So,
yes, it's November 1st through the 2nd. So there we go. Still kind of a spooky.
So it's our Day of the Dead episode.
There we go.
Where at is it Day of the Dead?
The Day of the Dead is celebrated in Mexico, I believe.
I thought it was like in the summer or something they had it.
No, that is...
Or am I thinking Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, gosh, you're going to have so many people writing you in. Yeah, this is the remembrance of the loved ones who have passed away.
Oh. And for once, I'm doing an album where I'm not talking about any dead people.
I know, that's surprising, but...
Usually when I do this, there's at least one or two dead people I talk about.
Right. It's a southern Mexico, or Mesoamerican celebration in southern Mexico, meant to guide the spirits of the departed loved ones in the afterlife.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. So for our Day of the Dead special, I'm going to talk about Alice Cooper's 1975 solo debut album, Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yep, and I'm going to talk about Dax Riggs' album, We Sing Only of Blood or Love, that was released in 2007.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say Dax Shepard.
Oh, gosh, no, I know the difference.
There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference.
All right, so before you get into that, what do we have to ask of people?
To like, subscribe, share, follow us, go to all our media pages, Instagram.
Which are all linked at bittersweetandtwistedrecords.com. And if you're on YouTube or any of the other platforms where you're listening to this, if you could leave us a positive review, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we don't want no negative reviews.
Because if you leave us positive reviews, it helps with us getting this podcast seen and heard. And if you do anything negative, you must remember what your mother should have taught you. If you don't have anything nice to say, go fuck yourself.
I don't think that's what she would say.
I'm pretty sure that's what she said. I
don't think so.
I mean, my mom would never say that, but...
My mom would have.
Yeah, some people. I was gonna say some people's moms would, but
yeah.
So Lipe. I always say Lipe for some reason. And usually we edit it out, but I'm gonna leave it in this time.
Okay.
So like, subscribe, follow, share,
yes,
all that stuff. Check us out on Instagram and
yes,
I guess Facebook when I feel like posting there.
Yes, and we're gonna do hopefully a little more variance to our podcast and talk of other things like we're doing this evening, where we're talking about not necessarily albums that we have found in the bargain bin, but albums that have just reminded us of either Halloween or something kind of spooky. That's
what we're doing this one, or just records we just thoroughly love.
Yes, absolutely.
Because our next episode, I'm not going to say what the titles are yet,
right?
But I'm doing an album with just incidentally was from a bargain bin. But it's an album I've loved for 31 years now.
Wow.
And
yeah.
So, it could cover two different bases. It could be an album. We should do we'll do things like albums we love.
There we go. We're trying to branch out a little bit. We want to be able to get everyone to listen, and hopefully you'll find something that you're interested in. One of our episodes might interest you or interest someone that you may know, and so we know we're just starting, but we're still trying to find our way. And
it's funny, this episode, usually I'm the one doing the more obscure act, and Bobby's doing the more mainstream known act. Because I think it was last episode I did Sabotage, and this last one you did Blondie.
Yep.
And this one I'm doing Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And you're doing Dax Riggs.
Yep. Yeah.
And our next one is going to be the same way too.
Yeah.
I'm doing an album that sold millions of copies.
Yeah.
And she's doing an album that most people don't know exists.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
So without any further babbling from me,
that's right.
I'm going to hand this over to Bobbie.
Okay.
So she can discuss her album.
Yes, thank you. So, so like I said, I'm doing Dax Riggs, We Sing Only of Blood or Loved. And might I add, this is my signed copy.
Oh, aren't you
Look
fancy?
At that. Yes, very fancy. But I'm going to start with a little opening that if you go onto daxriggs.com, you will see this quote. And he didn't say specifically who's on there, who said that quote, but I really liked it. And it kind of describes him a little bit if you don't know him or his style of music. So, from the swamps of southern Louisiana comes the apocalyptic folk rock of Dax Riggs, starting with the teenage death metal of Acid Bath, on through the gothic Dixie-fried trash rock of Dead Boy and the Elephant Man. Dax has opened for artists as diverse as Queens of the Stone Age to Leon Russell. Like Leadbelly with a devil on his back, outsider music for young, dying radios, and the basement at the end of the world. I really liked that. I thought that was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
So, and I will touch on a little bit of those other bands that I mentioned in that opening. But so this album here, this was Dax Riggs' debut solo album that was released in August 2007 on the label Fat Possum. It was produced by Dax and Matt Sweeney. And Matt Sweeney, he's also a musician as well as a producer. He was the guitarist in the past band Swan.
Oh, is that the Billy Corgan?
Yeah, that's the Billy Corgan band. So, right. So that's who he was. So that's a little...
That's interesting.
Tied into that. So yeah, which Billy Corgan is from the famed Smashing Pumpkins. But yeah, so that was their band. So I'm going to take you on a little side trip to give you a little bit of history about...
Oh, no.
Yes, here we go. About Dax.
Bobby's making a side trip.
I am. Side trip.
Yeah. We were joking earlier that when either of us make these little side trips, because usually I do them, I go way out there.
Yeah.
But Bobby's like, oh, I'm doing one this time.
Yeah.
But we should have like a little like music drop or something.
Yeah, so some little notes that you know that we're getting ready to go on a side trip, which I think it's important to do, and it's easy to do because, like we've established in our first couple episodes, that everything is very kind of tied in, and all the music industry kind of mingles together. So I felt like I needed to go back a little bit in order for everyone who doesn't know Dax Riggs to
you're going to do a bunch of name drops.
Yeah, well, a little bit.
All right. Well, if you're a little light on name dropping,
okay, you're going to help?
Second half, I'll drop a lot of names.
All right. And if you followed us on our first couple episodes, we always joke that if you're want to play this name drop game, that you take a shot every time we name drop someone that's in the music business, because sometimes our episodes can be quite heavy.
It's called
name dropping.
The Chips Enough
yes.
drinking game.
Yes.
Chips Enough from the band Enough's Enough, he name drops like crazy
all the time. So enjoy yourself. Have a shot of alcohol or a sip of your whatever, wine or beer. All right. So originally, this album was meant to be the next album released under Dax's other band, Dead Boy and the Elephant Men, before they disbanded in 2007. So they were recording this in early 2007. They split up. Okay. And then in August 2007, Dax decided that, you know what, I'm going to release it. So it's, since he's the voice of it. So you may be more common with Dax's previous sludge metal band, Acid Bath.
Okay, I've heard of them.
I remember Acid Bath specifically from the 90s because the cover of their album, When the Kite String Pops, because it was the illustrated image of Pogo the Clown, which was actually drawn by the known serial killer John Wayne Gacy at the time. So, and I'm not a fan of clowns at all. And then knowing that this is actually the image that they got the artwork from John Wayne Gacy, it of course, it stirred up quite controversy in the music world. But Pogo the Clown was John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer's self-referred alter ego. He also often worked as a clown, and that was one way for him to get near many of his young victims, which is very sad. But so that's why it has quite a controversy, or it did during that time. I remember there was some issues, and I think that's probably why I end up knowing who they were, but whatever. So that was his first band was Acid Bath, which is a really great band if you want to check them out too. A little bit harder than Dax's solo stuff, but still just as great. Another interesting fact about the vinyl version is the title, which is We Sing Only of Blood or Love, but on everything else, the title is We Only Sing of Blood and Love. So it's just kind of so only the vinyl has that.
Now, was that purposeful or it was just a typo?
I think it was just a typo. I don't think it was purposeful, but I thought it was kind of funny that happens. I would describe the sound as having like hints of dark blues, rock, some heavy metal, and some psychedelic rock. Dax's voice alone I find it very great. It's raspy, blues-like, and he brings these styles together, I think, in a really unique sound. Most of his stuff, I would definitely say he has his own special twist. I think there's a lot, like if you look back at Acid Bath or Dead Boy and the Elephant Man, I think that you can definitely tell that it's all Dax, but number one, he's the voice, but just the mixing style is definitely his style. So this album is actually on the really short side with at the grand total running time of 38 minutes.
But it's got like
16 songs.
16 tracks on it.
Yeah, so 16 tracks with 38 minutes. So you're almost like, okay, is this like a Ramones or like Ramone-esque type of songs where the songs are very short? But unlike the Ramones, the words of the lyrics are much darker.
You mean a song like Dog-Headed Whore is darker than Ramones?
Absolutely. But so even though this album came out in 2007, I actually did not become familiar with it until about 2010. I had kind of stopped following newer music for about 10 years or so, mostly due to having babies. Those kids, they took all my energy. So I kind of stepped away from music.
You're a little
for
behind the curve.
A little bit behind the curve, yeah. But as soon as I heard this album for the first time, I was hooked. Each song to me sounds like it's being sang like a dark poem. A lot of times the songs and the song lyrics, I'm like, how did he know what my brain was thinking? So we must have very similar dark thinking. So he brings together, like most of his songs are about death, love, Satan, and mortality. The first song is called Demon Tied to a Chair in My Brain, and it has a few lines that I just really like. So those lines are, mad shrieking woman, weep in my name, my skeleton is melting, my soul is in flame, demon tied to a chair in my brain. I just really love that.
Well, you know what? If you're going to quote lyrics, I'm going to quote lyrics in my head.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you don't even have to look yours up, really, because you can't. You have all of Alice memorized.
I'm still going to read them from the sleeve.
But I like his songs because they are short.
Yeah.
But the lyrics are pretty heavy in those little bit.
You got any more samples for us?
I do, and I'm going to tell you in a minute. But I just wanted to give you some of the other names of the songs, just to kind of give you an idea of like where he is kind of thinking on this. Didn't know yet what I'd know when I was bleeding. Night is the Notion, Radiation Blues, The Terrors of Nightlife, A Spinning Song, Truth in the Dark, Living is Suicide, Forgot I Was Alive, Ghost Movement, Dog-Headed Horror, which you already mentioned.
That's great.
The Wall of Death, Scarlet of Heaven Nor Hell, Death Bright, and Dream or Be Dead, which is actually only on the vinyl. So you'd have to have the vinyl to get that. But
what song's on the vinyl?
Dream or Be Dead.
Shit. Sorry, I almost dropped
Vince
it.
tries to drop my record.
What was it again?
The last one.
Oh, Dream or Be Dead? Okay.
Yeah, that's the vinyl only has that one.
I didn't. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't mess up your record.
No, you didn't. But the record is really great, aesthetically pleasing. I know the front it has...
It's nice heavyweight vinyl, too.
It does. It is heavyweight. And has just the mouth of someone on the cover, and their lips are very...
Bloody? Was she lippy?
She's a little lippy. So, of blood. Anyway. And then it does have the record and a nice picture sleeve of Dax looking...
Really young.
Yeah, gorgeous as ever.
The lyrics are really hard to read, though, on the other side for me. I don't know if it's for you.
They're very small. They're written, so the words...
It's a dark red on black.
On black, so it's very hard, and they're, like, the font on them must be, like, I don't know, 6 or something.
It's really small, and it's like a typewriter font, too.
Yes, it's very tiny, so it's very hard to read the lyrics, but all his lyrics you can find online as easy as 1, 2, 3 is typing it in.
And you just hope they're right online.
That is true.
Because that's something that annoys me. Like you know the lyric to a song.
Yeah.
And you look up online, you're reading it, and you're like,
Yeah.
that shit ain't the lyric.
That's true.
You're like, where'd you even come up with this crazy crap?
Well, I think this whole album is amazing. Another favorite song of mine is called Ghost Movement. And some of the lyrics on that are, Gonna lay with a ghost by my side, let the birds take to the sky. Gonna try and drown or drink the river dry, may the ghost lay by my side. I just really like that song a lot. So I wanted to see if I could find some other reviews about this album. And like I said, this album came out in 2007. And when it did, like, it is his debut solo album. So I don't know if people's thoughts of him going solo was... I guess maybe they were more negative than positive, but I wonder if it's because they were so used to him being in bands like, Acid Bath and Dead Boy and Elephant Men and Agents of Oblivion, like his other albums. So I wonder, but, so I looked up and I found on the website Pitchfork, which does reviews for different things, but they specifically reviewed this album. And they had only given it about like a 5.7, which I thought that's...
Out of 10?
Yeah, that was not very good. But
it's why you can't look at reviews.
Right, exactly. And then what he had said, specifically the contributor said to this, it says, he reviewed the album, but nothing on Blood or Love can stay on its feet for very long. Most of the album's songs seem hurried, rising up into squalls of fury, only to fizzle out and die around the 2-minute mark. And so, as you can tell, I definitely don't agree with them. Yes, their songs are short, I
think they say they fizzle out. I think this person just used longer songs.
Yeah.
I think Dax's songs do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, because the lyrics are heavy, but the songs are short. And I think you can do that if it's done right. And to me, I think it's pleasing to my ears, and it does what it's supposed to do. So, of course, I don't agree with them. I think they can suck it, I think this...
I can't stand a critic.
Man, no.
Like they always, like the old saying goes, those who can do, those who can't.
Right.
Well, they used to say those who can teach.
So I think this album's amazing, but as you always say, Vince, we're trying to...
Everyone's fun is different?
Yes, everyone's fun is different, so we're trying to stick with that. But I personally really like it. I love the darker the better for me. But
that's
just how I think.
Everyone's fun is different is much better than my old saying.
Which was?
If you disagree with me, you can go fuck yourself.
That is true.
I've mellowed out my old age.
Oh, you have.
My old age. I just had a birthday a couple days ago.
You did. Happy birthday to Vince. But one other thing that makes me, of course, love Dax and love this album probably even more. But on June 16th in 2015, I got to see him at the 8x10 in Baltimore, Maryland, as an Unplugged show.
Yeah.
So, and it was like a Tuesday night. So, like, no one was hardly there. I went with another girlfriend of mine, and he did a performance with the other band that was there was called Hound. I think you asked me that CD, you pulled it out one day, and you're like, who is this?
Yeah.
That's them. That's
okay.
Hound. So, who I think they're really cool, kind of rocky, southerny blues rock.
It's always really depressing when you go see a good artist and there's like no one there.
Yeah.
Like my friend Kieran and I went one time and saw Dan Reed of Dan Reed Network. Yeah. I mean, it was up in New Holland, PA, middle of nowhere. The venue, it was a bar. It had been an old movie theater at one point. It was a really nice venue, but now it's like a farmer's market now. But Dan Reed, he lives in Portugal, I believe now.
Okay.
So he came over and did like a handful of East Coast US shows, solo acoustic.
Oh, that's fun.
And so it was like a Wednesday night. It was raining, and it was like 5 people there.
Yeah.
And he's massively talented, and it was he still put on a show like it was a room full of people, not just 5 people.
That's good. Yeah, and that's how like Dax was. I mean, he's a solo performer, so he was up on stage on a stool playing his guitar, and he just has that really raspy voice and his songs, and he played, and it was wonderful. I stood right up front, trying not to be too much of that weirdo, just like staring at him, because there wasn't that many people in there, but I was just like, oh my gosh, because I think he's really underrated. I think he could be, I don't know, I just think his writing style and his music style, I mean, clearly he's pretty good at music. He's been in so many bands that are pretty great. I mean, a lot of them didn't last too long, but some other reasons. But it was a great night that night, just to see him there. And I went down. I remember he was selling T-shirts, and it wasn't like his publicist or some merchandiser, marketer. It was Dax. Yeah. Like, I went up, and I so wanted to say more to him, but I was just like, take a shirt, please. And I was just going to be like, oh my God, I love you, and like, you're great,
I've seen a few artists like that, like Dan Reed. It was just him, no one else.
I love that. I just feel like that gives them so much more cred. Like that makes them seem humble, and like they're not like above us.
And years ago, 10 years ago, probably 12, more 12. Kieran and I went in Philly to North Star Bar, which isn't there anymore. Rob Dickinson, who was the singer for Catherine Wheel, he was touring his first solo record. He was doing an acoustic tour.
Yeah.
And we got there way too early, which led to me drinking way too much.
Oh.
But Rob came in the front door, and the security guy stopped him.
Oh, because they thought he was just somebody else.
Yeah.
That's
he
great.
Stopped and he like did the hand on his chest shit. And he was like, who are you? And he looked down for me, he goes, I'm the band. Yeah. It was just him and his guitar,
That's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was at the bar when Dax, I had noticed, like, he had, like, walked. And like I said, it was so small. It was a Tuesday night. Yeah. I think there was, like, maybe 4 people at the bar. And, like, people hadn't even come to see the show yet. Yeah. And I just was like, he walked by. But Dax is very famous for always wearing sunglasses. So it was kind of like, is that Dax or not? But, yeah. Needless to say, it was. And it was a great night. But, so since this release, this came out in 2007. Since then, he has had one other album release called Say Goodnight to the World, that came out in 2010, which is also another great album. I really like that.
It's been that long since he had an album?
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So that was 2010. So that's 11 years ago. So the chatter on the internet that when I was looking up, here getting some information, is that there is talks that he's coming in concert soon, and originally there was talks that when Corona was over that he was probably going to come back out. Well, that ended, it said, because of the beginning of 2021, and there has not been any talks since then. So, but far as I know, he's still living in Louisiana, recording his stuff, and I guess he'll come do some shows.
Acid Bath reunion.
That's not going to happen because one of the guys is actually dead. But
has that ever stopped a band?
that is true. That has never stopped a band. But
I mean, come on, the Eagles are touring.
oh, that's true. And yeah,
Glenn Fry's dead.
but so hopefully he's going to be doing some more stuff. I know he's definitely out there, and I know from the chatter on the internet, there's definitely things happening in the world, but nothing specific, like nothing on his website that says that. I actually didn't check his Instagram, but if you go on there, and I know for one thing that I'm getting it when I go onto his website, and when I ordered, I didn't think I was getting it like from him or from whoever, but when I ordered my stuff and everything came signed. Yeah. I got a sticker signed, and I was just like, I was on top of the world. I was like, I didn't order all this, but this is fucking awesome. Like, I will take it all. So I do have to give him a shout out for that. So I think.
What's his website?
DaxRiggs.com.
There you go.
Yeah, so go and check it out and support him. It'd be great. A lot of his things that are on there I know are sold out right now, but there are some other things that he has up, like some shirts and posters and stuff. But some of his music you can still find. I have tried to find the one album that I did not have, which was one of the Dead Boy and Elephant Men albums, and I couldn't find it. I could only find one on Discogs that somebody was selling from like over in Europe for like $56. So that was. So I'm a little bummed that I don't have it. So I'm hoping I will find it out and about in the world.
We probably won't find it out and about.
I mean, I'm hopeful. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Dax will send me a copy.
Yeah.
You never know. I can be hopeful.
We'll just make sure when we put this
yeah, we'll tag them.
When we post about this on Instagram, we'll tag Dax Riggs in it.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
He'll read it and be like, oh.
Maybe he'll be like, wow, a female fan. I didn't know there was that many out there.
I didn't know there was one.
No. I'm sure he's so good looking. There's got to be lots of women out there that like kind of swoon over him, I think. And he has that.
A male musician doesn't have to be good looking to make a lady swoon.
That is true.
There's some ugly dudes out there getting.
Well, that's really true. But I mean, to me, he's got the voice. He can write some dark stuff, and he's good looking. So, sounds good to me.
All right, you're starting to swoon.
I am swooning. But now I'm finished with mine. So, hopefully you guys will check Dax out. Check out his music. I think he's really underrated. I think you will enjoy him.
It's not very often we throw a shout out to someone else or plug their stuff, but make sure you check out DaxRiggs.com.
That's right. Check it out. And check out his music. You can find it uploaded on YouTube and all that too.
Yeah. And in just a moment, I will continue on with our Day of the Dead special with Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare.
Do my witch's cackle.
So, it would be really awesome if you are enjoying the podcast for you to head over to bittersweetandtwistedrecords.com and check out our eBay store. We've got records and CDs and movies.
Shirts.
A few shirts left. We got some posters up now, a bunch of cassettes. Some cool stuff up there, and most of it's only $5. I try to be reasonable with the prices on that. We also have a TeePublic shop up with t-shirts and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Anything we could slap our logo on, we slapped it on.
We sure did, and we're hoping to be able to slap it on more places.
Yeah. Do that, like you said, hit like, subscribe, follow.
If you have maybe an album or a record that you want to recommend to us and we can check out, do so, and we'll check it out. And
I mean, your friend Eric recommended an artist, which
true.
We're going to do eventually. We used to have a long list of people we want to get to.
It's true. It's like, putting in a request song for a DJ. You might get to it. You might not. We hope to.
But I mean, we have a long list. If we can
Wow.
if we can stick to our schedule of 2 episodes
Yes.
a month, we'll get to some stuff eventually.
And our goal for that is to hopefully for the new year get on an actual schedule.
Yeah.
So we'll get there in
So-
plenty of time.
If you actually like listening to us, you can be like, oh, it's the 15th.
Yes.
They're going to have a new episode out today.
Absolutely.
Instead of listening to episodes and going, when they have another one.
Yeah. So we're trying. We're learning as we go. We're growing, which is positive.
I guess.
I mean, yeah.
So that is bittersweettwistedrecords.com, where all the social media links, all the purchasing links, all the links where you can check us out, all that fun stuff.
And now, with further ado.
No, with no further ado.
With no further ado.
Oh, you want further ado?
Oh, no further.
This podcast can go on forever.
No further ado.
It is I, Vince, with my Day of the Dead record.
Yes.
Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. And
Good old Alice.
good old Alice. I mean, a lot of people, they always think that Alice Cooper has always been a solo artist. Mm-hmm. But that's not true.
Mm-hmm. As I learned last night.
Originally, Alice and a couple other guys in the original Alice Cooper lineup had a band called the Spiders.
I love them. I learned my last night.
They just released a single. They're like a garage rock band in '66.
It's fantastic. I really like that style of the garage sound in the 60s. Vince played it for me and he's like, okay, Smarty Pants, who is this? And I was like, I have no idea. And he's like, this is Alice Cooper's first band. And I was completely shocked. Had no idea.
And then in '67, I forget the name of the guitar player. He left and was replaced with Michael Bruce. Mm-hmm. And they called themselves the Naz. And it was a little more psychedelic.
A little more, definitely, of the time period.
Yeah.
I have to say, I really like that first band, though, that first Spider sound.
But they had to change their name because Todd Rundgren had a
Yes.
band called the Naz at the same time.
What is the Naz?
I have no idea that
That's what we should look up.
multiple
Why?
people had the name the Naz. We should look that up. If you weren't eating Ben and Jerry's, I shouldn't give a plug to them. But anyway, if you weren't eating ice cream while I'm talking, you could look it up.
I'm sorry. I got a craving and I gotta feed it.
All right. So they were on a hunt for another name, and eventually they came up with the name Alice Cooper. Mm-hmm. And they had their classic lineup, which was Michael Bruce and Glenn Buxton on guitars, Dennis Dunaway on bass, Neil Smith on drums, and Vincent Fournier on vocals. Mm-hmm. And they were called Alice Cooper. But everyone kept referring to the singer like, hey, Alice, hey, Alice, hey, Alice. And he was like, oh, me. Oh, you mean me? So Vince Fournier became Alice Cooper. He was the singer for the band Alice Cooper, which is not confusing at all. But what were you going to say?
Oh, no. I was just I looked up really quick.
Yeah.
Naz.
Yeah.
So the Naz actually means fool. It is taken from the book A Clockwork Orange.
Oh.
I had no idea.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was also used, David Bowie used it on Ziggy Stardust. Means like the hippest, most magnetic of beings.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. Anyway, so there
Okay, so the classic Alice Cooper lineup, they signed with Frank Zappa's label, and in 69-70 released, I think it was 69-70, or was it 70-71? Anyway, I'm not going to get bogged down.
Nope.
Keep moving. But those first two albums are called Pretty's for You and Easy Action. A little more weird and psychedelic, and Alice Cooper, the man, said at one point that they're the only band that could have jammed with Pink Floyd at the time.
Yes.
He said if you put them in a room with Led Zeppelin, they would have had no idea what to do. So
funny.
those first two Alice Cooper albums are really weird psychedelic albums, and no one bought them. Mm-hmm. So, and everyone in Los Angeles couldn't stand them. They were opening for the Doors one night.
Oh, wow.
And
I could see that.
And Alice was on stage, and most of the audience left.
Oh.
So they drove away the Doors audience, but they were friends with the Doors.
Yeah, that's kind of funny to me because I think when we listened to it last night, I even said that this reminds me very much of like, who did I say?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I forget.
Jefferson Airplane.
Oh yeah,
the styling reminded me of the Mamas and the
Yeah.
Papas. Jefferson, like very stylistic of that time period. So it's kind of shocking to me that they didn't like it because I think it sounds as from the time.
Yeah. So thanks. No one was buying the albums. No one liked them in Los Angeles, so they went to Detroit, which is where Alice was born. Mm-hmm. So they started playing shows in New York, in Detroit with MC5 and the Stooges.
Nice.
So they were all playing on the same bills. Those three bands. Mm-hmm. And so when Alice Cooper Group were playing in New York at Max's Kansas City, and a young record producer named Bob Ezrin saw him, who was at this time, I don't think he actually hadn't produced anything yet. He was an apprentice or an assistant engineer or something for Jack Richardson in Canada. And so he saw him, he was like, there's something here. He's like, there's some energy. And they had this song, I really like it. I love this song. It's called I'm Edgy. I love it. So he met the band afterward, and he's like, I really want to work with you guys. I love the song you have. I love I'm Edgy. And he said they all just looked at him blankly. Mm-hmm. And then he realized the song he was talking about was I'm 18. So he went back to his boss,
18.
Jack Richardson, and was like, we got to work with these guys. You got to work. Yeah. And Jack was like, no.
Isn't that funny?
He was like, if you think they're so great, why don't you work with them? So Bob was like, young, eager to prove himself. And he was like, okay. So they all went out to a barn in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And Bob was like, you guys have something here, but you need to tear it all down and start from scratch again.
Oh, wow.
So he worked with him and became essentially the sixth member of Alice Cooper Group.
Oh, funny.
And the first album they did together was called Love at the Death. Mm-hmm. And that featured the massive hit, I'm 18. Mm-hmm. So that album was a huge hit for them.
That's awesome.
And they had more hit albums. Killer, School's Out.
Yep.
And the number one 1973's Billion Dollar Babies. And the hit singles, they had 18, No More Mr. Nice Guy, School's Out, Elected, Under My Wheels. Just tons and tons of hits.
Yeah, and most of those songs we still sing to this day and listen to.
And it's funny because like they would craft these these radio singles, but yet the albums still had really weird experimental stuff. Like Halo of Flies and the title track of Killer. And it's just funny that they would like have these two sides of the band. Yeah. Like in the stage show was like starting to develop the snake and the guillotine and the gallows. And they had on one tour, Alice had a giant toothbrush and he was terrorized by a giant dancing tooth for the song Unfinished Sweet.
That's so funny.
So, a lot of people assume a band has theatrics, they don't have the songs. But the Alice Cooper Group, they knew we've got the songs to back this up. Yeah, we just got to get the
people.
So they they exploded. And then, like I said, they had the number one album full of $1 Billion Babies, which the title track was a duet with Donovan. And so by the time I got to 73 and they were working on the $1 Billion Babies follow-up, Muscle of Love, Ezra...
What is he talking about?
$1 Billion Babies?
No, Muscle of Love.
Oh. Oh, please. I think I'm talking about his love gun.
Love? Oh, yeah.
And I go on about... I might have to save Kiss's Love Gun for an episode, too.
I think that's just going to have to be a whole anthology.
Oh, God. I mean, Love Gun's the greatest song about a penis ever written.
It was pretty good.
But anyway, so during the sessions for Muscle of Love, like Ezra would come in and say to the band, how about we change this and that? And they were like, no, we kind of like it the way it is. Mm-hmm. And I say the band, I mean the musical members, not Alice Cooper, vocalist. And they didn't want to do theatrics anymore.
Oh, really?
And so Alice was like, well, what's the point? And so they said, okay, we're all going to take breaks from each other and we're going to work on solo records. Mm-hmm. And the record label was like, oh, fuck, our cash cow. Yeah. So, so they finished the Muscle of Love record. Jack Richardson and Jack Douglas produced it. Didn't do as well as Billy Baby. So, record labels, they threw out Alice Cooper's greatest hits to, get some money back. So Alice Cooper, the singer, and Bob Ezrin started working on Alice's solo album.
Okay.
Which was going to be entitled Welcome to My Nightmare, and it came out in March of 1975 on Atlantic Records. Mm-hmm. And he meaning Bob Ezrin, had come up with quite a backing band for Alice for this album. It included guitarist Dick Wagner, who also did play on the $1 Billion Babies record also.
Sorry.
Dick was a member of the late 60s band Frost.
Okay.
And just prior to Welcome to Nightmare, he played on Lou Reed's Berlin and Rock and Roll Animal albums. And he also would go on to play with Peter Gabriel and Tim Curry. Yeah. And would ghost play, uncredited, on Aerosmith's Train Kept A-Rollin', Kiss's Destroyer album, and he also had played on the previous Alice Cooper album, Muscle of Love.
Oh.
And also joining Dick was guitarist Steve Hunter, who had also played in Lou Reed's band on Berlin and Rock and Roll Animal, and he also did ghost playing of Aerosmith.
Wow.
And he was a member of Dr. John's band.
So as we have said in previous episodes,
it's all inbred.
We said we weren't going to use that term.
Well,
it's all interconnected.
Well, and the bass player, Prakash John, had also played with Lou Reed and Funkadelic.
Okay.
So, I mean, so you can tell that pretty much Bob Ezrin just, because he produced some Lou Reed records after he got famous doing the Alice Cooper records. Yeah. And obviously he just plucked the band from Lou Reed's records for Alice's solo band.
Huh.
And also featured bassist Tony Levin, who played with Chuck Mangione and Carly Simon and Don McLean. And he's also a member of King Crimson.
Okay.
Now. And you had drummer Johnny, I'm going to butcher his last name, and I'm sorry, Badanjek, who played with Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels and Edgar Winter Group.
Looks good to me.
And then you also had drummer Whitey Gland, who played with John Kay of Steppenwolf and Lou Reed.
And Lou Reed.
And special guest on this album was Vincent Price as the curator.
Well.
So, Welcome to Nightmare, it's a concept album. It's all about this boy named Steven, and it's all about his nightmare.
Okay.
And it features some spoken word parts by Alice and Vincent Price. And since Bobbie read some lyrics in her half, I'm going to read some lyrics.
Okay, goody.
And I'm going to read some lyrics from the song Cold Ethyl.
Cold Ethyl.
And when I read these lyrics, you can tell me what this song is about.
Okay.
One thing I miss is Cold Ethyl and her skeleton kiss. We met last night, making love by the refrigerator light. And then it goes down. Oh. Ethyl, come and freeze me with your charms. One thing, no lie. Ethyl's frigid as an Eskimo pie. She's cool in bed. She ought to be, 'cause Ethel's dead.
Nice. It's a little bit of necromancy.
Yeah. If I live to 97, you'll still be waiting in refrigerator heaven, 'cause you're cool, you're ice, cold Ethel, you're my paradise.
I mean, it could sound like, I mean, if it didn't say the one part where he's like, I met you by the refrigerator light.
Yeah.
And then you're cold as ice. I was like, is he having sex with a food product? A frozen food product? Oh, interesting. And so who wrote that song?
That was Alice and Bob Ezrin wrote that.
So weird.
There's some great lyrics on here.
Some very interesting lyrics.
And then there's like, in the song, some folks love to see red. Some folks never talk about it. Some folks crave a blue lady. Some folks know and still they doubt it.
Menstrual cycle?
I think it's more corpse fucking.
Oh.
A blue lady?
Red. Oh, blue lady. Yeah. Because at first I was like, I don't want to talk about red, like menstrual cycle. And then I was like,
But it's just funny that he wrote like songs about...
Well, right. And then that this, during this time period... That
1975.
that nobody...
Well, it's about to get really...
It's going to get juicy.
It's about to get weirder here in a second.
Oh, goody.
So, I will get to it in the first.
Okay.
But The album reached number 5 on the U.S. Billboard 200 albums chart.
Oh.
So it sold really well. And there was 3 singles released from the album. And they were all edited down from the album versions. You had the Welcome to Nightmare title track. The single edit was 2 minutes and 44 seconds. While the album version is 5 minutes and 19 seconds.
Wow.
And then the track Only Women Bleed was released as a single called Only Women.
Okay.
And it was 3 minutes and 29 seconds, cut down from 5 minutes and 49 seconds.
Interesting.
And the song Department of Youth was 2 minutes and 50 seconds, cut down from 3 minutes and 18 seconds. And I gotta say, all of these single edits, usually I find single edits interesting.
Yeah.
These are fucking terrible.
So they basically took the song and cut half of it out?
Yeah, so they were hoping to get more radio airplay the shorter the song, because programmers could squeeze it in.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it just ruins these songs.
But at the same time period, you also have songs like Leonard Skinner and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, who are all having these super long songs.
Take it up with Atlantic Records.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna call them up.
So yeah, these single edits are just horrendous.
I mean, this was the famed time period
75.
of like jam bands and long songs.
Yeah, this is when disc jockeys used to like long songs.
Right.
They go snort some coke with the record label rap.
Right. Absolutely.
Or bang a groupie.
Whatever. You know.
So the album came out in March of 75. The next month, on April 25th, ABC TV aired The Nightmare, a television special featuring Alice and Vincent Price, which brought the songs from the album to life, but with sanitized alternate versions for TV. So I guess network TV wasn't ready for songs about corpse fucking.
I like how the sanitized.
Yeah. There was a reissue of Welcome to Nightmare on CD. I forget what year it came out to have it. They have 3 of the alternate TV versions as bonus tracks.
Funny.
They're worse than the single edits. Because you have the album itself, it's this brilliant conceptual piece.
Yeah.
And then you start desecrating it with these horrible single edits, these alternate versions for TV. And it's just horrible.
Sorry, I'm going to open my drink really quick because I'm really thirsty.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
So, The Nightmare was released on VHS in 1983. And it was nominated for a Grammy for Best Long-Form Video.
Interesting.
Even though the special was made in 1975.
Huh.
And it lost the Grammy. I don't know who it lost to.
Okay.
And then also in 1976, a concert film that shot during the Welcome to Nightmare tour at Wembley Arena in London was released.
Oh.
And on eBay, people have the theatrical poster for the tour film, and I would love to have one.
How much?
One more than I'm willing to pay for a poster.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Oh, is that like a hint? You would love to have
I'm
one.
just saying,
I won't pay for it.
I'm just saying, if the podcast ever makes us money.
Oh, I will buy you all the posters of Alice you would like.
All right, because there's a really cool one they have on eBay right now for Alice Cooper's Flush the Fashion album from 1980. It's a really nice promotional poster.
Is that your favorite time period? He has a favorite Alice time period.
Oh my god. I should do a whole episode on Alice calls them the blackout albums. This is 80 to 83 when he was totally
messed up on
coke and alcohol.
That's Vince's favorite
and
time
he says
period.
he doesn't remember most of those albums. And he said a couple years ago in interviews, I listened to them again. There's some pretty good stuff on there. I should re-record it. No, you shouldn't. Because it's the dope that probably made those songs interesting. Those albums are Flush the Fashion, Special Forces, Zipper Catches Skin, and Dada. And Paul Besron came back and produced Dada. And they're just weird. Some Alice Cooper fans, there's 2 camps when it comes to the Blackout albums. Okay. Ones that love the shit out of them, which like is me, right. And other ones that it's the worst shit Alice has ever made.
Oh, okay.
And they're wrong. I'm sorry. You're just wrong if you think that. I mean, not every song on there is a gem.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I mean, that's with every band, though.
But there's some really great stuff
Really
in
some
there.
great stuff.
In there.
I was never like a super huge Alice fan. I always grew up listening to, different Alice stuff from, my dad had, or you would hear on the radio or something like that. But knowing that you're such a big fan, and then when you played me the Spiders, I'm like,
there is a
really great stuff out there.
See, people, unfortunately, in America, Alice is pigeonholed as one thing.
And I agree with you, and that's why I said, I would have no idea.
He's made so many different types of albums.
Yeah.
For good or bad, I haven't been a fan of the last couple albums, Detroit Stories, which has Johnny Badanjek playing drums on it, and Ezra produced it. I'm not a fan of that record. I think it's too long.
Okay.
And I didn't particularly care for the one before it, Paranormal. Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
I'm going, I hate Alice Cooper because these albums aren't any good. For a dude that's in his 70s,
right?
They're pretty good albums, but compared to the rest of his catalog, no.
Yeah. I mean, hey, he's still rocking it.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed we didn't get to see him this year, but
yeah, I saw him. I think I told you I saw him with the Marilyn Manson, whatever that tour was called. Mm-hmm. But I saw him on that, and I was pretty impressed with him at that point.
I saw him for the first time back in 1990 on the Trashes the World tour at the Tower Theater in Upper Darby. It was March 10th, 1990. Mm-hmm. I saw him then, and then I didn't see him again till 2000 in Atlantic City on the Brutal Planet tour. Then I saw him again in 2001 on the Dragontown tour. Let's see. Then I saw him at another tour. I can't remember what year it was, at the House of Blues in Atlantic City. And I think then I saw him again with Heaven and Hell and Queensryche in Reading, PA.
Uh-huh.
And the last time I saw him, oh God, it's up somewhere in northeastern PA. I can't remember what town it's in. That was about 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
But the thing is, when he tours the U.S., I usually don't like who he tours with.
Yeah.
But overseas, he'll tour with like The Mission, MC50.
Oh.
And he did some shows with the Stranglers.
Yeah.
And he's doing a European tour next year with Michael Monroe opening.
I saw him, so it was the Masters of Madness tour.
Okay.
Which was the 2013. So, and that was with Alice and Marilyn.
That was really, I gotta say, it was really creative of Marilyn Manson. Mm-hmm. Be called Marilyn Manson and have a band called Marilyn Manson, mm-hmm. and then go solo and still call himself Marilyn Manson. Mm-hmm. That's pretty creative.
That's very creative.
Yeah. He should have a song called I'm 19.
But it was a pretty good show.
And so,
yes,
Alice and Bob Ezrin continued on for another 2 albums after Welcome to My Nightmare. 1976's Go to Hell. I'm sorry, not Go to Hell. Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. And 1977's Lace and Whiskey. And then they didn't work again until...
Which is one of your faves.
I do love Lace and Whiskey. I've got like 2 copies.
Yeah, because I bought you a copy.
Yeah. And then I found another one... I've had a couple copies.
Yeah, you found a copy.
It's just different. I have different face labels on them and different inserts. Anyway. In 2011, Welcome to My Nightmare 2 was released. Or as the title was called, Welcome Number 2 My Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of like... And there was like various versions that have different bonus tracks on it. But, Ezra produced that one again. And it featured guest appearances by Steve Hunter and Dick Wagner, along with original Alice Cooper group members Michael Bruce, Dennis Dunaway, and Neil Smith. Rob Zombie replacing Vincent Price as the curator.
Oh.
And then John Five, Vince Gill, and...
Vince Gill?
Yeah.
Like the country singer?
Yep. Guitar player. He was originally a guitar player.
Oh.
I'm drawing a blank on what band he played with.
Yeah. So,
he'd been a guitar player. I can't remember the name of the band. He was a guitar player, then left that and went solo and became a singer. But now he's also a guitar player in the Eagles now.
That I can see more.
Yeah.
What did he do here with Alice?
He played guitar on a song called Runaway Train.
Oh, I was going to say, I could see him with
He,
the Eagles, but seeing him with Alice, I don't know.
and, well, if you can't see Vince Gill with Alice, Kesha is on the album, too.
Okay. Go ahead, Kesha.
She's the devil
Nice.
on it.
Okay.
And, what it's funny with, like, Welcome to My Nightmare 2... It begins as a sequel to Welcome to My Nightmare, but it kind of morphs into a sequel of Alice Cooper Goes to Hell.
Oh. Okay.
Which is kind of weird. And it charted at number 22 in the U.S.
Okay.
Didn't chart as high as the predecessor,
Right.
but for someone that far into their career,
Yeah, that's
still chart at 22. It's not bad.
true. No.
Yeah, and Alice is still out there
I mean, it's,
making albums.
yeah, and it's helping him have time and money to go play golf.
Yeah.
And his golf attire. He
And-
has his own golf line, doesn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he has his own golf clothing line. I feel like that. I'll have to look it up.
But, so as Bob Ezrin got his start producing Alice Cooper,
Okay.
and he went on to produce many, many bigger bands.
Yeah.
And not so big bands. But some of the bands he produced were Kiss,
Okay. Okay.
Lou Reed,
All right.
Pink Floyd,
Okay.
Taylor Swift,
Wow.
Peter Gabriel,
Oh, so he's doing well.
Jane's Addiction,
Okay.
The Throbs.
The Throbs.
Yeah. No one bought that record.
Oh.
They had 2 albums. I thought they were really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll still play once in a while in New York. But their bass player,
Yeah.
we saw him because he plays with Faster Pussycat now. Slim Tender.
Okay.
And he was the one singing the Super Suckers cover they did.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. And
And
Mr. Bob Ezrin also produced one of our favorites
yeah.
that we have to mention every episode of the podcast.
Every episode.
Every episode.
Okay.
And that is
Yes.
Sir Rod Stewart.
Good old Rod. Yeah, he is making his entrance in almost in every single one of our podcast episodes.
When we were
I hope he knows how much he's loved.
we were in I forget what store we were. No, it was one of the antique stores we were in the other day. And is the one where the woman ran to the back when I was back looking at music.
Yes.
Look at some
she
CDs.
thought you were questionable characters.
Yeah, so she came back like she was like dicking around some DVDs. I'm like, I see what you're doing. I'm watching you. And she like kept looking over her shoulder. And then I moved around. She went back to the front. Anyway, they had a copy of the Faces.
Yeah.
What was that one you did? What was it called? A wink is good as a nod to a blind
blind horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a beat up copy of that for $13.
Wow.
And I was like, I was gonna open it and see if the poster was in it,
Oh my god.
but she probably would have lost her fucking mind if I opened
Oh
it.
yeah, she probably would have.
Because they had them all bagged records and then had them taped shut.
I was really excited that other week. This week going to Rod. See, this is what happens, Rod. But when we found that Small Faces album, it was destroyed. I was so bummed, which I was really, really hopeful because I was like, oh my gosh, I never see one of these out. And
then the antique place next door to that one where they didn't follow me around. Upstairs, they had a bunch of records. They had the Forever Young 12-inch single.
Yeah.
Which had like a remix and an odd album track on the B-side. They went $20 for it.
Oh.
I said, I'm not paying $20 for a Rod Stewart single.
Yeah.
And I did see the 7-inch of it today, and it was 50 cents. But
There you go. There's Rod coming into our...
Rod has to be. Oh, and the Rod Stewart album that Bob Ezrin produced features the single "Love Touch"
Yeah.
from the film Legal Eagles.
Okay.
And this song was not produced by Bob Ezrin.
Interesting.
And it was the lead single from the album. And I think I've mentioned this before in the podcast. I have the promo 12-inch of Love Touch. And it's like a white cover and has Rod's logo really big.
Yeah.
And it says, taken from the upcoming Bob Ezrin produced album, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, Love Touch. Then it says, produced by da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like you make a big deal out of Bob Ezrin
Yeah.
producing it, and then you release a non-Bob Ezrin song as the single.
That's funny.
But we could ramble on about Ron.
We could,
as
obviously.
as we usually do.
Yes.
So we're gonna bring this in
Yes.
and end it. We hope you learned something.
Yeah, I mean, you had to learn a little bit about each
Something.
band, and go check it out. And
You learned that there will never be an acid bath reunion.
oh no, I mean, I guess there technically could.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
We
I
learned
don't
that.
think so.
We learned that network television doesn't like songs about corpse fucking.
Evidently not. I don't understand, but whatever.
And be sure to check out bittersweetandtwistedrecords.com.
Yes.
For all of our links, so you can
Yes.
like, subscribe, follow, give 8 million star reviews to. Say you can't live without this podcast.
Yes, please. And hopefully we're going to be, like I said, we're still in the early stages, and we're looking to expand, change, add some things.
We're going to be consistent is what we're going to be.
Consistent is going to be the first step.
We're going to try it the 1st and 15th of every month.
Yes. That's going to be our system.
Try to get podcasts out on those. So 2 episodes a month.
Yes.
That way, you don't have to try to remember. Hey, buddy. One of the cats just jumped up here
And
with
joined us.
So you don't have to worry like you're worrying, but wonder when we're going to put another one out. Because I know if we're not consistent, you forget about us.
Yes.
Don't forget about us.
Don't you forget about
Don't
me.
sing any more lyrics.
I'm not.
Or we'll have to pay for them.
I know.
So that's it, everybody. Thank you. Make sure you come back on the 15th and listen to the next episode.
Goodbye.